Score yourself without mercy. There's nobody watching, which means there is nothing whatsoever to gain by pretending. Let me inventory what phase 2 actually gave you. 5 things. 20 days ago, you had none of them. 1. You can test a pattern. Name it plainly. Write down what would kill it and let the days try. Most people never do this once in their lives about anything. 2. You can kill your own finding deliberately with real effort and mean it. You did this on day 12 and it cost you something. 3. You can survive a miss. Score it. Note what it kills and what it leaves standing, and sit down again the next night. That capacity is the difference between a practitioner and someone who used to do this for a while. 4. You can hold a contradiction. Record both readings. Weigh the blind one higher and refuse to resolve the tension into a false agreement. That is genuinely rare in any discipline. 5. You can read the whole trunk. Distance, cluster, void, isolate in sequence without deciding to. It has stopped costing you effort, which is what day 18 was about. Now, look at that list and notice the same thing I asked you on day 10. Not one of those 5 is a belief. Every single one is a discipline, something you do or refuse to do, which could be verified by a stranger reading your notebook. You have not been asked to become a believer, and you have not become one. You have become an instrument that can be trusted, including by yourself, and especially when it delivers a result you did not want. That was the entire assignment. It is now complete. Now, the other half, because a milestone that only reports gains is a sales pitch. You still cannot say what it means. You have geometry. You have recurrence, some of it tested, most of it not. You have a small number of lexicon pairings that survived. What you do not have is a system of meaning. And I want to be clear that you should not want one yet. A system of meaning acquired at day 20 would be a system you invented, and you would spend the last 10 days confirming it. And the second thing, and this is the one I want you to sit with tonight, you have never pointed this instrument at anything. Think about it. For 20 days, every session has run the same way. You sit down, you settle, you shuffle, you record what arrives. You have brought nothing to the table. No question, no situation, no purpose. The instrument has recorded whatever happened to be in front of it. That was deliberate. It was not an oversight, and it was not an accident of the curriculum. The book says it plainly. The first 20 days were deliberately question-free, so that you could learn to trust the geometry on its own terms. Read that clause again. On its own terms, not on yours. The geometry had to be allowed to say whatever it says without you standing over it wanting something, because a person who wants something from a layout will get it. You needed to know what the field does when you are not asking it for anything. That is your baseline. You now have 20 days of it, and it is the only thing that can ever tell you later whether something changed. 20 days of not asking. That condition is now satisfied. I will say no more about it tonight. Phase 3 begins tomorrow, and something is permitted at the table tomorrow that has been forbidden for 20 days. I'm not going to tell you what it is tonight. I want to explain why, because it is not showmanship, and I would rather you understood the reasoning than suspected me of theater. If I told you now what changes tomorrow, you would run tonight's session differently. Not deliberately. You would not decide to, but it would be sitting there in the back of your mind, shaping what you noticed and what you recorded. Tonight's map would be drawn by a person who was already half in phase 3, and tonight's record would be contaminated by an anticipation. And tonight's record matters. It is the last entry in your baseline. It is the 20th of 20 sessions that were run under a specific condition, and that condition holds until midnight. So, this evening still belongs to phase 2. Run it as though nothing were coming, because for tonight, nothing is. This is the same discipline you've been practicing for 20 days, arriving in one final form. You do not get to know the outcome in advance. You record under the conditions you are in, honestly, without letting what is coming reach backwards and change it. The map freeze taught you this. So did the sealed lexicon. So did every disconfirmation line you wrote before you knew. One more night of not knowing. You are extremely good at this by now. Tonight in order. A. Your day 20 record. 5 steps. The full trunk. Distance, cluster, void, isolate in sequence. And review your map from 3 days back, day 17, as you have done every night of this phase. Do this first, before anything else, because the moment you start counting shapes and overlaying voids, you have 20 maps in your head, and a person with 20 maps in their head does not draw an independent 20 first. Log first, review second. That rule has not changed since day 10, and it does not change tonight. B. Then the 3 tests. Count your shapes across all 20 maps. Overlay your 20 voids onto one sheet. Read your day 3 somatic log against your day 19 somatic log and count the distinctions. C. Then the audit. 4 questions in writing. Mark anything compromised. Do not fix it. Do not rewrite it. Just mark it. Dated tonight. That closes phase 2. And when you have finished, close the book. Do not sit up wondering what tomorrow brings. You will find out tomorrow, which is when you are supposed to find out. Let me close phase 2. 20 days ago, you couldn't see a gap. You could not hear a claim. You cannot go and get an absence because your eye slid past it and you did not know that it did. Tonight, you can do all of that in sequence without deciding to. You can name a pattern plainly enough that it might be wrong. You can attack it and lose and write down that you lost. You can hold 2 readings that contradict each other and refuse to make them agree. None of that is belief. All of it is discipline, and every bit of it is on the page in your handwriting where anyone could check it. And here's the thing I want you to carry into tomorrow. 20 days of not asking. For 20 days, you have sat down at that table wanting nothing. No question, no outcome, no stake. You have simply recorded what was in front of you, over and over, on nights when it was boring, and on nights when you doubted the whole enterprise, and on the night when something you cared about died. Which means you now know what the field does when you want nothing from it. That is your baseline. It is 20 sessions deep, and it is the only thing in the world that can ever tell you later whether something changed, because you cannot detect a change without a record of the unchanged condition. You did not know that was what you were building. You were just doing the sessions. Tomorrow, the last third begins. You are not asked to believe, you are asked to record. This is Dr. Rivka Edery, author of Spatial, Psy.D, signing off on day 20. I am so looking forward to seeing you tomorrow for day 21. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye for now.